Hey YouTube, still Ovan here. Today I've been doing some modifications on a bunch of different knives. First off, I threw this tech lock on this Gerber strong arm. So that was a super quick modification that I did this morning. It has back plates for it, so you can do it in scout carry or dangler, and I just prefer it to be a little higher up. So there's that first guy. I also did some RIT dyeing this morning. That's this stuff for anybody curious. It's just clothing dye, but you can dye micarta with it. So I dyed my Python micarta scale from Sharp Dressed Knives black, but it still has that super sweet texture that shows through with grays and blacks. I think that's way cool. On this Gen 4 XM18, I forgot to clean this. I was using it at work to sharpen pencils, but there's my RIT dyed XM18. I also RIT dyed these ZT 640 scales, which I'm gonna slap on here in a moment. These are also from Sharp Dressed Knives. They were a tan colored micarta. Focus. And now they're black. So I think at the end I'm gonna throw those on, and these other, I have some thumb discs I'm gonna try out on this new ZT640 that I got. There's a couple things that I dislike about this. The clip sits up, that much is sticking out of your pocket basically, which really sucks. Thumb disc is kind of boring, so I have these two different options. One's a zirconium oversized one, and the other one's a 9mm casing that I cut down to make a thumb disc. So I'll see which one of those I like better. Here's a pocket clip that's deep carry. That should solve the bad clip placement issue. And those micarta scales I have to replace the carbon fiber because it's got a bunch of voids in it. It's just not that pretty, and this just overall texture of carbon fiber, or pattern of carbon fiber, I don't find very appealing at all. Also, another thing I disliked was the giant logos on the blade, the ZT billboarding. So I did a nice hand rub on it, up to 1,000 grit, and it looks way better, in my opinion. I still need to sharpen this because I wound up taking the edge off so I wouldn't get cut while doing the hand rub. So that was that. A lot of these modifications I did off camera, just because it's way more convenient and simpler to do. So I don't know how I'll be doing these going forward. I know I've done some with footage and music over top, and some just talking and actually doing the mods. But we'll see how it goes from here. So this ZT640 I got from my buddy Jacob on Blade Forums. It actually came with the deep carry clip and these tan scales that I've now changed black. So he hooked me up with this. He also sent me along this cool sort of 3D patch. He's going into the Air Force. He's gonna fly KC-135s, as you can see. He's got one with a mullet and sunglasses on there, which is cool. So thank you, Jacob, for sending me that along. But so I think, actually I'm going to talk about this this other ZT here. This one's also new to me. This is a ZT393. This is the ZT's version of the Hinder Eclipse, and as you can see, I have heavily modified it. So this thing started out as a regular 393. It had blue liners, which I deanodized using Wink's rust remover. You can look it up if you need to strip any anodizing off of parts. It's really a great way to do it. So I stripped the anodizing off of the blue liners. I got these black micarta scales from Sharp Dressed Knives, threw those on. I took a Dremel with a like a wire brush wheel on it, and I polished the paint off the clip, and then enough so that the paint still is on these grooves, which I think looks really cool. Nice little contrast. And then, of course, I stonewashed and acid etched the pivot, this filler tab, which I also had to strip the paint off, and the clip, the other side of the pivot. I stonewashed all that. And then the blade, I did a acid stonewash on it, on the exposed bevels, which were satin before. I think looks, oh, there you go. Looks really neat. As you can see, this is in 20 CV. Then I sharpened it. It's nice and sharp now. So there's my Mod Mania of the 393. I did this before I was doing these YouTube videos on modding, so I don't have any footage of it. But there's that guy. Great action, like all ZTs. I mean, decent blade steel. These micarta add a ton of traction, and just make me like this knife a whole lot more. I think this is sort of my gateway into maybe getting a Hinder or Eclipse eventually. I love my XM18s, but the ergonomics on the 393 are pretty sweet. I also like that the back of the, where your finger goes after you flip it, isn't jimped. Because on this, I actually wind up flipping with the, like this portion of my finger instead of actually the tip, because otherwise you just bash it into that aggressive jimping there. Not that I have wimpy hands or anything, I do construction for a living, but if you're flipping it over and over again, it just gets a little bit tiresome. So anyway, super cool ZT knife. That's maybe I'll have to get a real Eclipse eventually. So now let's get these scales swapped onto this 640 here. And of course it's the wrong bits. That's the right one for there. That one is the right one for the thumb stud, thumb disc, whatever you want to call it. Alright, start this pocket clip here. In my opinion, this pocket clip is the worst dang part of the knife. Other than that, I love the design. Ergonomics are great. Blade shape's great. This is modeled after a, oh man, I forget the model, but it's an Emerson, a pretty rare Emerson knife. This is an Emerson designed ZT as well, but it's based off of that model. I wish I could remember that off the top of my head. But the original model, the original Emerson, is very rare and hard to get. So this is as close as I'm going to get to it. I also may or may not have a couple more Emersons coming to the channel in the future, so keep your eyes out for that. So yeah, I always do this. I get distracted by what I'm actually doing and forget that I'm trying to record a video here. And so I don't leave you guys without much to look at. But anyway. Alright, so the only thing that's a little bit annoying about this knife is you have to, have to pull the stop pin out, take the scales off, which is annoying. Swap my bits out here real quick. Alright, that's the right one. Oh, that's a pretty good look. Butterfly knife, ZT 640. New model ZT. Coming 2022. Alright, pop this guy off. And hope everything doesn't explode on me. Whew. Well, that worked out nicely. As painless as it could have been. Let's get this other guy on here. Yeah, so I had these scales were installed originally, and I took them off for dyeing and put those other scales on, these green carbon fiber ones, just because I wanted to see what they look like, and was not a fan. I see why a lot of people dislike this knife, because it has some very poignant flaws, but if you know how to do a couple quick modifications, I think this thing is going to be absolutely sweet. And the flaws are going to be fixed, at least in my eyes. I'm sure there's some people that love theirs as they came from the factory, but not I. Sweet. This lighting is not great. I do my videos underneath a skylight, which is great for natural light, but it means I don't have a lot of control over when I can do my videos, because the sun has to be up, and also how the lighting actually is, depending on how cloudy or overcast it is. So there's my handle scales. Let's get this clip on here, make sure I have it on the right side. I always jack that up on the first try. Oop. I won't make you guys take a shot this time, but be warned. Alrighty. So I'm actually not sure where this pocket clip, came from. Like I said, it came from Jacob with a knife, but I think it's a very tasteful modification there. This last one's a pain. Gotta thread it through there. Alright. I feel like I say alright a lot, but I do. Oh, I need to back this guy off just a tad. There we go. That's better. Centering still dead on. I am stupidly OCD about my blade centering. There's not a ton that really bugs me on a knife. but centering is, if I can't get the blade centered, I sell it or return it. That's just kind of my policy. It's weird. That's the only thing that I am super OCD about on knives. Alright, so there is the I think that looks pretty sweet. And this is a monster thumb disc. It's oversized and black. This one's zirconium actually, with a cool orange peel finish on it, so that's super cool. But actually still not sure here which one I like. Black looks super clean, and brass adds a little bit of contrast. You know what? I think I'm gonna go with this guy, zirconium. I can keep that 9mm one for another project. It's probably going to be a decently long video, but alright. That is way better. I like how oversized this guy is too. Also, this sort of fluting on the outside gives your thumb really good traction. Alright, I'll get these put away. And this junk moved off here. So if you guys like this style of Modification Mania that I'm doing right now, where I actually assemble the knife and whatnot live, let me know down in the comments what you prefer. Just wiping this guy off here. Which one you guys prefer? For me, it's a lot easier to do these live than to film every little bit of my modification process. Often I take my time and don't like having to set up a camera and whatnot. Also, keeping in the shop, it is usually very loud, so I can't really record in there with sound. But so there's my awesome modded CT640. Love it. So much better. Couple little tweaks make this thing a whole new knife. This thing's basically the same size as a Sebenza, but made by ZT and super cool. Yeah, so let me know in the comments you like this style video or you like the music with the sped up, modifications live and whatnot. And we will catch you guys later. Bye.